Mummy's coming too. And Daddy. They're going to the pond to feed the ducks. Is the little girl coming?
Yeah. Katy.
Oh, little girl's called Katy. And the little boy's coming too.
It's Ben.
Ben. Ben says there's lots of ducks. Going to feed the ducks?
Yeah.
Yay!
What did Katy do? And we can go to the
Mummy's feeding them some bread.
Oh, look.
Who's that?
It's Kate.
It's Kate, is it?
No, it's Sophie.
Sophie. Sophie's come to look at the ducks too.
And we will have
Look, the ducks are swimming.
the duck is hey, okay. Free.
In the sand. Little boy's going to go down the slide. Up, up, up.
Okay. And make a go. And make a go. And go swing.
Swing.
Uh-oh. They go out.
What does she do on the swing?
Oh.
Oops. Rock, rock.
Okay. Wee.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. It's time to go back home now.
Oh.
Oh, I'm tired.
No, we should go qua. And we will go and we will go home. Where Katy goes.
Sophie's gone home.
Hey Michelle.
Okay. I'm Michelle and I'm a parent to two children with ASDs, one of 7 and one of 5. The 5-year-old is Katy, who you would have already seen on the video, and my son is 7 and his name's Ben. Both of my children attend a special school, which is working fantastically well for them, although they're very different children with kind of similar problems. My son, we started to notice he had issues when he was about 2, and mainly it was a lack of language to start with, and he used to get very upset with strange places and people. That was our first clues really. But now he's with the right input from all different areas. He's coming on leaps and bounds, and we were told he would never really talk, and now he's got a lot of language, and he's a very bright little boy. He's doing very well at school, and he's a much more sociable child. He still has issues with well, everyday life, which every child with ASD would, but he's coping much better. His strategies are much better, and he generally he likes to interact with people, but he needs a lot of support to do that. He copes well at school, mainly because he's got the right structure in place for him. It's not as rigid as when he first started, but he's still got a timetable, visual timetable, and that works very well for him. My daughter started school just in September, and in the last 6 months we've noticed amazing progress, again because she's got the right structure in place and lots of visual clues and timetables. Katy's very different from Ben in the way that she's a very sociable child, as much as she can be. And she's also very aware of what goes on around her. She loves to have attention, whether that's good or bad. But she's a definite character, and she's got a very strong mind, and she knows what she wants, and she kind of does whatever she can to get what she wants. So she makes herself known, that's for sure. But we've had lots of behavioural problems with Katy, and it's been kind of a long road to get to where we are now. She will quite happily now sit and do a task for sort of 10-15 minutes, and we'll keep her interest in place. And her speaking and her understanding is the main difference that we've noticed recently, is coming on amazingly, and I can direct her to go and do simple instructions, but to go and get her shoes from a different room and things like that, things that she will quite happily do on her own, and she really wants to do, because she gets very frustrated. She wants to be as independent as possible. So the increase in understanding has been amazing for us, a real difference. I think with us, I feel we've been very lucky with the input that we've had from other professionals. We started off in quite a negative way with Ben. We didn't have any idea really what was wrong with him, being our first child, and we had nothing to compare it to. But when we went to see the doctor, he just asked me one question: does he sit on your lap and read a book? I remember. But we knew there was something not right, and it wasn't until we had a health visitor coming around to visit Katy, and I told her about my worries, and she referred us to a speech therapist. She thought we should start there and see what happened. And we were very lucky, I think, with the speech therapist we had. He was very good, and he recognised something not quite right straight away. And we then had the head of speech therapy, and I got put onto a training course, and things kind of went from there really. She referred us for a home worker, a TOPS worker, as we know it now, who came into the house but also liaised with preschool, went into preschool, which was much more important for us because Ben struggled no end at preschool. It was a terrifying experience for him. The separation was a big thing in itself, but also, you know, a new environment. He'd never really been parted from me. He had to follow certain instructions that it was all very strange to him, and lots of children around and lots of noise, which for Ben is a really big issue as well, was very frightening. And I think the TOPS worker going in and putting very simple things in place for him made a world of difference, and within a month we saw him then being able to leave me happily and enjoy preschool, which was a really big thing. So I think that was the main difference that we noticed. Ben started school very young. He was only just 4 when he started school because of where his birthday fell. And again, the transition into school would have been a really big deal had it not been for the input from the TOPS worker. We had transitions into school, but we also had things like a talking photo album to introduce him to his new teachers and the rooms that he would be using. And he also, I went into school to create a communication passport, which just detailed every little thing about Ben, which is, you know, so important for the teachers then to pick up on: his likes, his dislikes, the fact that he liked to sit down and look through the Argos catalogue or a telephone directory, all things that I knew, but obviously they didn't, and things to calm him if he got slightly upset, like bubbles and things. All those little things that for us is kind of, you know, every day, but for a strange person coming into his life is just imperative, really. We also started to see the paediatrician at this time, and again, it's very much working hand in hand. I think when we first saw the paediatrician, we were very daunted by what was wrong with Ben, the fact that we were sort of very blind to what it was all about, really. But, you know, they're not there to cause problems, you know, they're there to sort of hold your hand and help you through it, really, we have found. And, you know, moving on from then, with Katy, we've had really big sort of sleeping issues and things like that, and it's only because we've worked very closely with our paediatricians that we've trying different things all the time, and even not just the 6 monthly visits, it's keeping in touch by phone and, you know, updating them on how we're getting on and slightly tweaking different things to make life more livable, really, and just make it a bit easier for us. And now the same with Katy. What I did with Katy was when she started preschool, or prior to that I should say, I knew very young with Katy there was an issue because obviously I had Ben then, so it was more noticeable to me, and I was more aware of what I was looking out for, and I got the TOPS worker involved very early on, which again for Katy was very, very important. Katy struggled very much with being able to sit at an activity. She would flit from thing to thing. She was very sort of hyperactive, and she couldn't concentrate. She had no concentration for any length of time. And her understanding was very, very poor, so it was just putting things in place like she would have a schedule, but a very simple object schedule, so she could pick up a cup and then go and match that to another cup when it was snack time. Very simple things again like that made her life a lot more easy in preschool, really. Preschool were great as well. We used to have a sort of 5-minute handover when I dropped Katy off and when I picked her up, as to whether there'd been any issues, if she'd had a bad night, if I was concerned about anything, if they were going to do something different the next day, if there was going to be photos, things like that, so we could put things in place before it actually happened. And again, that's so important. And also having continuity, I think, of one person to contact at preschool mainly, so that you build up a bond there, because sometimes I used to go in tears and things like that, and it's just the comfort and being able to open up to someone. You need to have a slight bond with them, because otherwise it's just not going to work, really, you know.